guys, guess what time it is?
It's time for small potatoes.
Where we give you a naughty tease of our latest Patreon episode.
Be sure to subscribe. Links are in the description. But we're going to discuss disabilities. And I think it's a really important episode because the statistic I found was there's 8 million people in Canada alone that are disabled. And although there is so many of them, they're often considered a minority. They're often forgotten. And especially when it comes to their sexual needs, which really is such a shame. Like, these are human beings. They deserve, it's vital that they have human and sexual contact. So I think it's a great episode to jump into.
I'm so excited. You're right. This is definitely going to end up a series, I think,
Mhm.
um, because there's a lot to it. It's very nuanced, types of disabilities and how disabled someone is, what parts of their body are limited, and it's interesting because their mind is often not. And
Right.
so, if you have a normal, healthy mind that is as functional as every day, all of us, everybody
Mhm.
else, then how dare someone eliminate the piece of their humanity that is their sexuality? I think I've said this a few times on the pod before that people are so focused on their physical health, their mental health, their spiritual health, their nutritional health, their
Mhm.
financial health. They're all these different pieces. And often the demonized or absolutely removed slice of that pie is sexual health. And that includes an active and healthy sex life, including consent and your desires being fulfilled, satisfaction, communication, and everything that falls under that umbrella in that little wedge of the experience of being a human being. It really
Mhm.
is part of what life is. And it's part of why I hate, the removal of sex ed in schools and education. It's why I hate the demonizing of certain terminology and the, criminalization of things like sex work and just the censorship on fucking platforms and all of this. Like, we're all humans. We all
Mhm.
have a sex drive of some sort. We all have physical bodies that behave and react in sexual ways. Why can't we just talk about it?
I know. And you know what? I think even for the people with the disability, there is so much ingrained shame. And in some cases, they may never have a penetrative sexual experience in their personal life, but they absolutely can with a sex worker. And I
Yes.
think there should be no shame attached to that. But I want to start before we jump in any further. I read an article from the Daily Mail that they were doing an interview with a sex worker that really is specializing with people with disabilities. Her name is
Mm.
Anna Whitmore Fox. And I mean, it's a long article and it's a good read, but one of the pieces to it, and I think it really kind of sums this all up. It says the biggest misconception is people with disabilities do not desire human touch, gratification, or companionship. That is a basic
Mm.
human need, but removing sexuality is just one more way that society as a large tends to dehumanize the disabled community. And I think that's just nailed on the
Absolutely.
head.
That, I think, is such a nutshell of what we're diving into. So well put. It's a great article. We should link it
Mhm.
in the description below so people can take a read because it's really informative and it's from a perspective that is super fascinating
Mhm.
because to be a sex worker that specializes in anything takes a
Mhm.
lot of skill, right?
Yeah.
And disabilities are as nuanced as human beings are. And so you will never have the same experience twice. You'll never meet the same kind of person with the exact same circumstances. And so her career must be an endless, just sponge of information, a wealth
Mhm.
of knowledge, and never ending learning, which to me is the perfect job because
Mhm.
I get bored if I don't learn. I've always been studious that way. And there's so much raw human dynamic in discovering with somebody the capabilities of their body, especially if
Mhm.
they've lived a life where they've been told that their body's so limited. I think
Right.
it takes more than imagination. It takes concerted effort and so much communication that by the time you get to the touch part, it's it's almost deeper meaning
Mhm.
because it has more behind it and more with it and more intention behind all of it. It's just there were some of my favorite clients and learning experiences in my career as well, was people with different disabilities because again, you're like asking all these questions and things that I'm not asking a normal dude, right? Like, dudes, no offense, guys, but you're pretty simple, right? It's like dick,
Right.
balls, face, armpits, feet. Like you just and you walk through the world with the simplistic black and white kind of way of reasoning through things. And when you add a bunch of new challenges or limitations or, segregated sections of your body, your mind, your nerve endings, all these pieces, for someone to come in and take that delicate and dedicated time and care to
Yeah.
help reconnect some of those dots, those pleasure pathways, and the imagination to go with it, that person, that customer can now envision and explore imaginatively more ways that they're going to want to try to feel and find pleasure the next time they see this worker. I think that is such a beautiful blossoming moment
Mhm.
because you're opening possibility. And in a country like Canada that only has 40 million people, 8 million people is huge.
Right.
That is almost a quarter of the population, right? And we have boomers aging right now. It's only going to get more and more and
Yeah.
more. And I've always known through my studies with sex work law that there are some countries, especially in Europe, that offer as part of disability benefits a
Mhm.
section of money that's allotted to sex workers
Mhm.
for purchasing their services, specifically because society tends to shun people, especially when the disabilities become more severe, cerebral palsy, ALS, and things like that, to have that as part of your disability benefits, as part of
Mhm.
your funds that you can pool in, just as much as it's really beneficial to have, mental health as part of your health benefits care package, with your job or your private
Yeah.
insurance. It's again that piece of the pie that has to still be nurtured and fulfilled. And to get to a point where a government is supporting that is the kind of progressive law that makes me progressive in the first place, because
Right.
that is life changing for
Mhm.
everybody involved, the sex worker included, right? And you're allowing people to thrive in their own humanity, to feel the best of what life has to offer. And a safe and legal channel to do that is all that we ever ask for in
Mhm.
this world of sex work. It's all we want is just to exist safely. And so to give someone this safe space, the legal authority, the legality to do it, the funds to accomplish that, so that they can have their physical needs, nurtured through a physiotherapist, their medical needs through
Mhm.
their doctors, their psychological needs through their psychological team, and to have their sexual needs as a person maintained through a professional
Mhm.
is just so fucking incredible. It's
Yeah.
why we built Muse to be completely wheelchair accessible as we did, because we knew how many clients will need this access. We
Right.
knew that we need roll-in showers, that we need wide doors, that we need a bathroom that accommodates everybody. And these pull bars and all these things are all part of why we've designed it how we did, because how dare we exclude anyone that
Mhm.
has such equally valid and vital needs as every other customer that comes in the door. It's just it's
And
beautiful. It's
I
absolutely
think
beautiful.
what's I agree. And I think what's different about a disabled person that comes in as a customer is I have a
Mm,
feeling they're extremely loyal because of that shame.
mm,
And probably that they're nervous to come in. They're nervous for that first meeting, that first time to express what's limiting them, what they're looking for. But once they connect with someone, and I almost wish there was a spa dedicated to people with disabilities, but
mm.
I'm sure there's at least a handful of girls at each spa that enjoy or are equipped to handle certain situations or different disabilities.
Right.
But once you've made that connection, I have no doubt that that client would be eternally loyal because they trust you. You now understand, because let's face it, sometimes consent may need to be written instead of verbalized.
Yes.
There might be sign language involved.